We're gonna bust the 6 gym myths that are making you weak and killing your gains, and we're gonna start right now. So where are these myths coming from? They're coming from fake gurus, from fitness influencers who've barely ever trained anyone. So now we gotta bust these myths and give you guys the strength that you deserve. That first myth that we're gonna bust is that lifting weights makes you bulky. This one is so stupid. So what's bulky even mean? Is that looking like Jay Cutler? Or is that being a little bit more explosive and being more athletic as an athlete? That's one of the big things that we have to realize, is that lifting weights helps you be more coordinated and it can improve your athletic ability. It's not gonna make you bulky. Lifting weights and the result obtained are very dependent upon the type of stimulus that is implemented during training. We need to do high rep work. That's gonna help us enhance our lean muscle. We need to make sure that we're doing athletic movements so that we can coordinate as rapidly as possible and enhance our athletic physique. We can even do endurance-based work with some of our resistance-based training, and that's gonna help us burn more calories and maintain that lean look that we're looking for. Heavier strength work can increase lean muscle mass, which is not going to make you bulky. Again, you're gonna have that athletic look, and that's gonna help you feel more confident. Ultimately, if we're trying to avoid being bulky, it always comes back to your overall nutrition. If you're eating well, you're eating clean, and you're making sure that you're burning a lot of calories in the gym, you will not get bulky. So that second big myth is that you should only deadlift once every 10 to 14 days. A lot of coaches will say it takes 10 to 14 days to recover. In 2019, I decided I was gonna challenge myself to deadlift 600 plus pounds for 12 straight days. And the big thing here is that you've got to be aware of your deadlift technique. When you're trying to increase your volume in the deadlift, you need to make sure that you're doing the right accessories and you're getting plenty of sleep. Are we focusing on max speed? Are we focusing on max effort? Are we focusing on hypertrophy work? If we're aware of our technique and we know what that loading is, we can do deadlifts more than once every 2 weeks. We've got to keep weightlifters in mind. Weightlifters are snatching, cleaning, squatting all of the time, and this is the same principle when it comes to deadlifting frequently. That third myth is that we must have a core day for proper development of our core. All right, so what the is core training anyway? All right, I get it. It's likely all the abs. Even though I like to focus more on the trunk, the core can be referred to as our abs. Is it really going to hinder your progress if you have an entire day devoted to core-based training? Probably not, but you won't really know unless you click on the subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you get more content on how you can become an absolute freak. So really, the best way that you can train your core outside of having that direct core day is to do front-loaded squats. Catching heavy cleans and being tight in that catch position, or doing reflexive movements that require some serious dynamic trunk control. I mentioned dynamic trunk control. We've got to have a mind shift when we're talking about core-based training. That next myth that we're gonna bust is that you can target spot fat loss. What's this mean? A lot of people believe that if they have fat in certain areas, if they exercise just in that area, they can lose that specific fat. So someone has fat quads. Let's say their quads aren't as lean as mine, just kidding. But somebody has fat quads. What are they gonna do to lose that weight on their quads? Are they gonna do 100 reps of leg extensions and all of a sudden have lean quads? No, that's not what happens. This thought goes back to if somebody has tricep fat, well, all we have to do is really just do more miracle grows, and that's gonna help them get rid of that tricep fat. But that's not accurate. This could be similar to somebody who has a lot of fat deposited on their belly. They might think that if they do thousands of crunches, they're gonna get rid of that fat deposition, but that's not true. Now, one of the things that I learned from taking Charles Poliquin's biosignature course is that typically we can see different hormonal makeups lead to specific types of fat deposition. Think about if you have a thyroid problem, we might see individuals with really wide hips. Or if we see a male that has high levels of estrogen, they might have a lot of fat around their pecs. And if we have individuals that have insulin and cortisol problems, we're gonna see a large deposit of fat around their love handles and even their belly button. What it always comes back to is balancing that total daily energy expenditure seesaw. Make sure that you're burning more calories than you're consuming. And while you're maintaining this caloric deficit, make sure that you're monitoring your hormonal profile under the watchful eye of a professional. So that fifth myth, my glutes aren't firing. Please stop with this. This is like when individuals will say, my CNS is fried. So can it actually happen where an individual's glutes might not be firing properly? Yes, this can happen, but a lot of athletes will say on one day, their glute is firing at 90%, and they somehow know on another day that their glutes might only be firing at 70%, and thus, on that day, it's gonna hinder their progress. So how can we make sure that our glutes are actually firing? First, I would recommend rotate your warm-ups so that you're starting off with single leg squat. You can also use single leg glute bridges. I would recommend doing each side for at least 15 reps and try to get your hip in line with your torso, something that I struggle with. To wake those glutes up, I also like to do slow step-ups, really squeezing my glute through my heel as I go through that slow eccentric. After the slow step-ups, I typically recommend going into a side band walk, even with a slow eccentric here, squeezing those glutes and trying to keep those knees over top of your feet. And then finally, to really make sure your glutes are awake, you can do walking lunges, 2 sets of 7 on each leg, and that should make sure that your glutes are firing on all cylinders. That next myth that we're gonna bust is that you must fail on a set to achieve muscular growth. So what happens when we fail? When we are actually failing in a set, we're typically losing coordination or we're expending all the ATP, which then leads us to be unable to handle that load. This is probably not killing your gains. However, we can improve strength and improve muscular size without failing. If we look at weightlifters or even a lot of power lifters, typically what's happening is that they're increasing muscle mass through myofibrillar hypertrophy and neural coordination. The more coordinated they become, the more strength they're able to express, and in turn, they achieve greater hypertrophy with minimal failing. When we start doing really challenging movements and we're starting to stimulate our body, what ends up happening is there's satellite cell mobilization and proliferation. And this leads to that increase in strength and increase in muscular size without actually failing. Science has shown us that muscular growth has been seen in high rep sets with light loads and without failure. It's okay if you don't fail within your set. So we dispelled a whole bunch of different myths. Some of them are horrible. Something like lifting weights causes you to be bulky. That's just absolutely ridiculous. Some of the other ones aren't that bad. Specifically, doing core training on one full day, that's not that bad, especially if you don't feel like training. Sometimes it's okay to go into the gym and do a whole bunch of core work. What I want you guys to do is comment down below, which ones are you gonna dispel today? Go into the gym and try and hammer one of these specific things. Maybe it's deadlift every single day for the next week. But remember, you've got to do one day where you can go heavier, one day where you're doing accessory-based deadlifts, and then one day where you're just gonna be focusing on speed. I'm out of breath, and my quads are pumped. So if you want daily fitness advice and fitness knowledge, follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Garage Strength. And if you guys want a program, click on the link down below, head over to garagestrength.com. You can pick up your Mass Builder program. And if you're not ready to purchase that Mass Builder program, download the free workout template. There's a free workout template in the description available for you today. And remember, freaks, if you want to become a champion, you've always got to cultivate your power. Peace.